Are there performances where there isn't a story in it? In martial arts movies, they always say that the fight scene needs to have a reason to be there, right? You just can't throw a random fight scene in there. It has to represent something, which is why I like the fight between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back. Have you seen that movie?
No.
What? Have you seen that
Yes.
movie? Okay. So cover your ears for 1 second. Are you interested in watching the movie?
Yeah, sure.
You should watch the movie.
Okay.
Wait, cover your ears for 1 second so I don't spoil anything for you.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So, in that fight scene,
I can still hear you.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'm just gonna write a bunch of stuff right here that is scrolling up. Hey guys, I was originally going to just put a big block of text, but instead I thought this might be a little bit easier on the eyes and the ears. And the eyes. Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader in episode 5. Some people think that this fight had no subtext at all, and that it was just a fight. These people are wrong. Really wrong. The great thing about episode 5 is that it really builds on episode 4. That's the way sequels are supposed to do things. Okay, but what do we have here really? We actually have a fight out of anger and revenge. Luke Skywalker wants to defeat Darth Vader for the things that Darth Vader and the Empire has done to his entire life. Killing off Ben, killing off his aunt and uncle, and now they're going to kill his friends. So this is a fight for redemption and revenge. Darth Vader is mad at Emperor Palpatine because Palpatine lied about his kid being alive all these years, and now he wants to take everything for himself. And Darth Vader wants to do it with his son, partially because of the rule of 2 in the Sith lore, but also because, hey, this is my kid, I have to get my family back somehow. Darth Vader needs this. Like, he really needs this on a personal level. He'll tell his therapist about it later. So then we get to the actual fight, and you can see right away that Luke Skywalker is outclassed in every single way. My favorite part about this is when Luke Skywalker does that thing with the lightsaber flying to his hand that he just learned a week ago on planet Hoth, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, Luke has gotten stronger. And then Darth Vader, in the middle of a fight, just starts mentally throwing everything at Luke Skywalker, beating the shit out of him. Because Luke Skywalker is not that strong yet. This is also a good play on Darth Vader's part to show to Luke Skywalker just how strong the dark side is. So when he goes, I am your daddy, Luke Skywalker can go, yes, my daddy, and also more power. Because he knows Luke Skywalker wants to get stronger. So Vader is betting on his son to be like him, to give up everything for the power of strength. And that's where he messed up. Luke Skywalker, though, is driven by his need to save his friends. His revenge comes from love, and at the pivotal point, chooses the sacrifice play instead of giving into the dark side. He did what Anakin Skywalker couldn't do, and what Darth Vader couldn't do until episode 6. And Darth Vader wouldn't have done it until he saw his son do it in episode 5. So it's just like really good build-up. A lot of you, my viewers and my friends, are probably going to be like, well, that's kind of obvious. And it is. It is obvious. Movies generally don't try to trick you. They need to build up these things, but they show you everything that you need to know. So when some of my friends told me that the episode 5 fight between Luke and Vader meant nothing, I have to question their ability to watch a movie. Anyways, if you like this shirt, check out this link right here. It's to my friend's store. Back to our regular scheduled program. Like and subscribe. Anyway, so we're back. Watch the movie. Watch it together. 4 and 5. You probably skip the rest, but 4 and 5 are great.
Okay.
But anyway, so there's a thing in there that every single fight scene needs to matter. It needs to represent the characters. It needs to show their growth and everything. And you guys were saying how a lot of dance is storytelling. Is there dancing that is just dancing, like no storytelling involved, where it's just like movement and music, or I guess sometimes not music, or is like there's distinction between like good dance and bad dance, and if it needs a story in it to make it good? That was a lot.
I think it all depends on the choreographer, and also it all depends on the perception of the audience of how they actually view it. I have seen some works that are abstract, and it just seems it's movement for movement's sake. And maybe it's like a particular music that influenced the dance. It's like, okay, that's what that is. Now you do have some people who like that kind of thing. They don't want to get too involved of what does it actually mean. Maybe they use the music that they've chosen for the dance to kind of speak for itself. So you do have that, and you do have those who needs it a little bit more meat for people to really chew on, and how that could relate to them.
Right.
How could that relate to the audience? So you do have both, and both are nice, and both can be very beautiful. But I think I like to see if, I mean, even with the abstract, can I still find some kind of story even within it if they're not explaining it, but can I find it within myself? What does that mean to me? But it is nice with those who do have a very distinct story that they want to share, and almost like reading a novel. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like reading a novel and you really get into it and you want to know, like, what is the beginning, what's the middle, what's the end? Or is there an end? Or is it going to be a continuation for another?
Like Gilmore Girls.
I've never watched that show.
Don't. Well, don't watch the new version. It's freaking horrible. Anyways,
Okay.
and scrolling all the reasons why I hate it.
I don't think there's any good or bad art. There's no right or wrong way to make art. You know, like, it's not like, oh yeah, you have to tell a story in order for it to be good. No. Art can be whatever you imagine it could be.
Right.
You know, like I said, a lot of choreographers are just like, I don't have an idea, but we're gonna make some movement and see where that takes us. And, you know, I'm gonna have, like, I see like all these different shapes and, you know, this running pattern, or, I mean, whatever it may be, to, you know, our particular music, which is an abstract piece is what we would call it. And it's beautiful to watch. It really is. And I think the audience, even if they have like a simple movement, or, you know, like just a simple gesture, like, what does this mean to them? And like, what does this mean? The mind is naturally going to be creative in, what is this trying to say? What does this mean? Or am I just kind of on the surface a little bit and just like taking it all in as an entire piece, almost like you're watching like a silent film. But eventually, when you watch so much of dance, then you can't help but kind of want to go in deeper and like find that bigger meaning or picture. And now dance, if there's spoken word in it, if they're singing, that really adds to the message that you're trying to come across to the audience.
Do you think it's easier to see yourself in, or find messages more in, abstract art?
For me, it takes a moment. It takes a moment. Easier with dance, because I'm a dancer, but if it's like any, let's say some like visual art, Andy Warhol, you know, with his particular work, there might be some pieces that I don't fully understand like the first time I see it, but if I keep staring at it, maybe something will come to mind. I think with, you know, other art forms, if it's very abstract, it will take me a little bit longer for me just to comprehend of what the artist was, you know, feeling at that particular moment in that particular year. They might have been in their biggest depression and they did this very extravagant art that for them, it represents chaos. And so, you know, looking at it for the first time, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see the chaos, but what's the hidden, like, little nuances within that work? That, oh, there's actually some light color right here, so it's not all dark. It's not all chaotic. Maybe there's some little essence of trying to find simplicity and trying to find calmness within that chaotic storm. But also too, sometimes I would like just to appreciate dance for dance at the same time. Just to love to watch, seeing dancers do the amazing things that they do, you know, from all the time of the training and the stretching and the partner work. Sometimes you just want to see that, like, and you know, you really appreciate it. It's like, wow, that is gorgeous. And I'm going to take that with me. I'm going to let that marinate, and then that's going to inspire me. Okay, let's keep going, you know.
That's actually a very good point, because if you think of, you know, when you were little and the first time that you actually saw a dance, you're not looking as like, oh my God, like, what is this story? You know, you're being inspired. Oh my God, you know, like Misty Copeland or, you know, whoever it is doing these amazing things on point and doing things with their body. And you say, I want to do that. You know, like I want to be that. So sometimes that is like that little inspiration of, wow, like this is what dance can do. You know, it's also, you know, the audience. We were performing for a lot of little kids who are in that same position that just needs to like see something and feel something. So, you know, we were kind of just like embodying our younger childhood and being energetic and kind of doing like the stop and freeze and then keep going. And, you know, they need that. They need to see that.
In college, I took a dance history class. But I studied this guy named Mercer, I think.
Mercer
Something.
or Merce Cunningham?
That could be it. Merce Cunningham. I think. 90% sure. Anyways, he did this thing where he used like a flash during a dance. And he would do it every single time he jumped and did that splits in the air. And apparently he could jump really high. So... But the lights were all off, so you would just see like flashes of him, like a UFO, like floating through the darkness. Like every few minutes he would like jump, flash of light, so you see him like this, land, jump again.
That sounds like a different
David
piece. David Parsons Caught.
Yeah, maybe that guy.
I'm like, wait, I know this piece.
And they got it. But I just like trying to imagine, because I never seen it. I only read about it in the book. And I can just imagine seeing that like in person, like in the 80s, right? Or 80s, 90s. Like this was fairly early on. It was a while ago. Maybe early 2000s? I don't know.
Maybe.
Before I went to college, because it was in a book then. I can imagine saying that and being like, holy shit. One, how can he jump so high? And two, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
So let me go on to that one. I'm leading on to this one. How the hell do you guys train to jump so freaking high?
You know, you just ballet, plie, use the muscles.
Yeah?
Push the floor up with your feet and, you know.
What does that mean?
It's the body mechanics that really helps. So, you know, you have your quad muscles, those are the strongest muscles in your legs.
Okay.
So like once you plie, and then when you jump off, you're using the strength of your quads to get you up into the air, and then the feet helps to push that off. Also, too, the calves are part of that, too, like helps to even lengthen the legs a little bit more. So it's really the power of the bottom to get to the top.
To go up, yeah.
And that helps you jump 20,000 feet in the air?
Sure. Also, too, there could be some people who have really long Achilles heel on their foot to help them get even a little higher. So if you have really good genes and you know, if you're tall and like your dad played basketball and he jumps really high, it's like, okay, you're going to have that. So when you dance, it's going to like...
I always loved jumping as a kid on the trampoline. Oh my gosh, it was like my favorite thing to do ever. So, cause like I know where you come from because I sent you that photo.
Yeah, and you were like 9,000 feet in the air. Right here. Here's the photo. There's really old Chinese kung fu training, which is not safe. You shouldn't do that. But I'm going to tell you how they used to do it. How they used to get people to jump like 5-6 feet in the air, which was like the size of a house back in the day. Is that they would train the Achilles, like you were talking about. They would dig like an inch into the ground, like a little hole, and you would have to jump using just your ankle part and like use that to hop out of the hole. And every single time you were able to do that, they will make the hole deeper and deeper and deeper until you're like, I don't know how deep in, but eventually you could like jump your height out of the hole, and then they'd be like, all right, cool, training's done.
Wow.
Yeah, which is probably not good for you. Maybe, I don't know. They did a lot of crazy
things.
Right? Well, it's back in the time where like you had to be really good at fighting or someone else is going to kill you. But I had my friends, one of my best friends, his kung fu master actually broke his ankle because he did that jump off a roof and like landed 15 feet down. Because he was trying to get away from somebody, and that's how he broke his ankle. So yeah, don't do that. Yeah, it's horrible. I could jump like 2 feet. That's what I can do. Usually right into like a bed or like pasta.
Pasta.
Like into a bowl of pasta. I could do that.
Maybe a pool.
Yeah. Oh. Or like you know what's always gotta hurt? Scrooge McDuck. DuckTales. Remember he would jump into the big thing of gold?
Oh, yeah, that would hurt.
That would hurt.
Yes.
That's just gold.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Meadow.
No.
You never seen DuckTales?
No.
Oh, we're making a list of everything you need to watch.
Well, that was before she was born,
They had a new one recently.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
DuckTales?
Yeah, they redid it. That David Tennant was in, the guy who played the second of the new Doctors.
Oh,
Doctor Who.
okay.
You watch Doctor Who?
No.
I got sent you a couple episodes. You're gonna cry. Every episode, I had to stop watching Doctor Who because parts of it were just so sad. There's one episode, and I cried for like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That was so depressing. Family of Blood. That ending. Oh my god. Have you seen it? Okay. So we're gonna hang out, get a bunch of pizzas, and just watch Doctor Who.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna bring like so many tissue boxes because those freaking episodes are so sad. Oh. I started with Weeping Angels and Family of Blood. Thanks, Hillary, you jerk. Anyways, she introduced me to Doctor Who. In the world dance, are there such thing as like dance gatekeepers?
Explain that.
Okay, so it's gatekeepers is a big thing in like nerd fandom where I mostly reside. They set up like weird artificial barriers that keep you from like showing that you are actually, part of this community sort of deal. Does that exist in dance world?
I would say no. Like how you describe gatekeepers, yeah, I don't think it really exists for us.
I'm still just a little confused on the concept.
All right, never mind. We're skipping this. All right, you mentioned in your video and earlier about try to making dance more easily accessible to every single person.
Oh yeah.
What are the challenges of that? Like even now today, I guess with like internet, is it still a problem? Is it still a challenge, or is or did the internet bring a whole new, different challenges to the table?
What I meant by make it easily accessible was that we live in a very capitalist society. And even now with dance has become very capitalized.
Right.
Why are you charging dancers $23 a class, whatever it may be? Meanwhile, we don't really get paid for what we do. It's like kind of just, it's saying, okay, like we're gonna, like take this from you, but you're not, really getting anything from it. It's really hard to explain, but even just to see shows and everything, see dance, take dance classes, like it's expensive.
Like the economics don't work out.
Which is, exactly, the economics of it just doesn't balance out. And like, how does this really make sense? Especially during a time of COVID when, college students like me were getting a degree in dance. Meanwhile, they said, okay, you're still getting an education. It's just gonna be, online through Zoom. But we're still gonna charge you the same amount of money as if, regular. So maybe I would have made a lot of different choices had I known that we would be in the world we were in right now. And I definitely disagree with the way that dance is not very accessible today.
Now, as far as like with the internet, yeah, a lot of people started doing that. Also too, using social media as well to promote classes. Now you have some of these studios who use the internet to still, trying to get money still, from that. And others who just want to have classes, they do little videos or whatnot. And so you have a little bit of both, pretty much. You have those who trying to get classes for free, like, oh my gosh, this yoga class for free. I'm just going to just do that instead of going in an in-person class and pay whatever amount, for a yoga class. So there's a lot more of that happening now. But in terms of, the expense, most people who take those dance classes are dancers. We are professional dancers. And yes, I definitely agree. We do not get paid enough for what we do. You do have other people who have a regular 9-to-5 job who love to take dance, just for more of, if it's more of like a hobby or more of just a active activity, just to keep their body going. You do have those people as well who can afford that, $23 a class. But for the most majority people who takes the dance classes are artists. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't get paid enough. And that's the reality. And they should really change that especially with professional artists who still wants to take class in person. They need to make like a discount for us and make a discount for students too. Cause hello, how much are they paying a year? $80,000. Yeah. That's like crazy. Mm-hmm. And they still want to do outside training besides going to their school for the training. They still want to go to those other studios that would help them, right, to reach their goals. But still having to pay out of pocket is crazy. Now, there are some schools that have work studies. If you work within the studio for an amount of hours, you can get these free classes. That's cool. They should keep that still. But again, not everyone can do work study. I feel like the work study is more towards the students who are still in school. But if you're a professional, if you need gigs and whatnot, you won't really have that time to do the work study. So I think they should really promote, let's do some discounts for dancers, especially for professional dancers. If they want to still take classes from us, let's make it more affordable.
Do you guys think that a lot of the issues with the money situation for like artistic people, dancers, other people like theater people, writers, and basically all art is really just like how artists are seen in like society? We're kind of seen like as not like everyone, but like tell your parents you're gonna become like an artist. You're like, oh shit, oh god, no, not you, anyone but you. You could have been anything. In my close group of friends, I'm like the only one that's like more on the artistic side. So when you're like talking about, they're like, oh, he's doing another thing. And like, it seems, in my experience anyway, that we're more on like the bottom hole of life for certain things, which is funny because you go home after a stressful day, what do? Right? You listen to music, you watch a movie, you read a book. All these things come from art. Mm-hmm. Like people who say that art isn't important, they're fooling themselves. What do you think of that? The social perception really affects like this ladder that we have to climb to try to, I guess, make it at the end of the day.
I mean, I totally understand too, being the only artist in a family, it's hard for them to really understand exactly what it is that we do. Mm-hmm. And, if they don't see it for themselves, it's kind of just like, okay, well, you're not making money, then what's the point of it? That kind of mindset of, constantly, working for money, mm-hmm. not working because you love what you do. So it might seem like you have to try to prove yourself to other people or achieve this level of success or say, hey, like I'm doing this, I'm like, I made it. After a while, that kind of got tiring for me. At the end of the day, if you love what you do, just keep doing it, really. I mean, there are other ways that, to make money. I'm not just a dancer. She doesn't consider herself just a dancer. I'm also a dance teacher, a Pilates instructor. She's also a massage therapist. But we share this common interest of creating art and dancing. We only get one life, so, you kind of just have to do what you love.
I know for me, my adopted mom really didn't want me to pursue dance. Because for the same reason, you're not making money. Mm. She's like, I'd rather you be financially stable with, being a doctor or something else. More in the medical field because, they make more money in the medical field. But, which I understood. I understood that, yes, especially if you want to be, self-independent and not relying on other people, yes, you should find those other, jobs and whatnot. But is that really going to bring me the happiness that I'm looking for with my life? No. And some people see that as a sacrifice. Your art is sort of like a sacrifice. Yes, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take for myself, because I know that in the end, what I'm able to do and what I'm able to give, and having others to see that and appreciate that fulfills me even more so than making 6-digit figures a year. I mean, yes, I would love to have all my debt be paid off. Yes. Yeah. Most definitely. But money is not everything. Money is not happiness. Right. We made it that. We gave it that. Because we feel the more money you make, the more success you can have, then you can be happy. No, I definitely do not believe that. You create your own happiness, but it doesn't have to be controlled by money. Money can help, yes, but you should not have it to fully control you and keep you in this like tight grip. But at the same time, especially as being adults, we have to learn how to budget. We have to learn how to make things work if we know this is like other areas that we're lacking in. It all comes. Like the more you're into your craft, like you start to see these things, you're like, okay, so how can I make this work with this amount of money that I have? And how can I find some other means of what I love, but find other areas that still is very meaningful that I could sustain myself with. So that's why I kind of went into massage therapy. I was actually inspired by another dancer who did that. She went back to school for massage therapy. She had her own clients and she was still dancing. I was like, oh my gosh. What? That's amazing. I like that. I really like that. So thank you, Lauren. Yeah, so that inspired me of, oh my gosh, yeah. Because when I was younger, I was like giving my friends little massages and whatnot. Sorry, didn't mean to tickle you. But they like, oh my gosh, that feels so good. And so every single time there's a little moment like, Roxanne, can you give me a little? I was like, oh sure. Like, oh. I was like, oh, that's another gift I never knew I had. So not until I was much older, oh man, I can actually pursue this. And I do love giving massages. So that's something I've learned to also appreciate, another part of myself. But I agree, do what you love. Because yes, we only got one life.